Let's go over some facts of quadratic equations whose graphs are exactly parabolas. To determine the graph of a quadratic equation, we're going to need some data out of that equation that is going to determine several points of interest on the parabola, namely the vertex, the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and also we're going to need to know how open, what's the aperture of this parabola. All of these are given by that equation. So let's see how to extract those from here. First of all, if I plug in x equals 0, then I get that y equals c. That tells me that the y-intercept of my parabola is at 0, c, which is this point over here. Now, to determine the vertex, either you can complete the square in this expression or use derivatives to come up with the fact that the x-coordinate of the vertex is minus b divided by 2a. And then if you plug in here minus b over 2a for x, and you solve for y, then what you get is that the y-coordinate is precisely 4ac minus b squared divided by 4a. So the formula for the vertex is this one. Now, if you complete the square in x, you get an expression of this form, where x0 and y0 are the coordinates of the vertex. So knowing the coordinates of the vertex, we also get this expression for it. By the way, this expression for the parabola also tells me that at x0 minus 1 and at x0 plus 1, this is 1, and therefore the value of y is now y0 plus a. So that at those points, this is the value of y. That tells me what a is. That gives me a measure of the aperture of the parabola because it says that when this is 1, this length is a. Now we can find the x-intercepts. Those happen when y equals 0. So if the parabola equals 0, with this expression, we get this formula. And if I solve for x in that equation, what I get is that x has this formula, and since x0 and y0 were the coordinates of the vertex, and I know those, I can plug those in, and simplifying what I get is that x equals this, which is the usual quadratic formula. Finally, this quantity inside the square root is called the discriminant, and if the discriminant is 0, there is only one x-intercept at minus b over 2a, so the x-intercept also happens at the vertex. If the discriminant is negative, there are no real values here, so there's no x-intercepts, and if the discriminant is positive, then there will be exactly two x-intercepts. So, for example, for this parabola, the y-intercept will be at 0, 1, so at that point, which is this point over here. The vertex is given by this formula where b is 0, a is 1, and c is 1. So I get 0, 1 when I plug in. So the vertex is happening here where the y-intercept is. The discriminant is minus 4, is negative, so there is no x-intercept. So the parabola will not cross the x-axis. And finally, a is 1. And that tells me that if I start from the vertex and move over by 1, the rise will be exactly 1. So the parabola has to go through 1, 1 and minus 1, 1. So the parabola looks just like that.